Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Sansbury. I'm a nutrition education coordinator here at the San Antonio Food Bank, and I'm also a registered dietitian as well. So, before we get into this a little bit, this is going to be lesson 1 of the Cancer and Wellness curriculum that we have with Chef. So we're going to go into a little bit of my plate and how it correlates with the cancer my plate, as they call it, and we're going to kind of design our bowl that way, and we're going to talk a little bit about nutrition, physical activity, and then how that all encompasses as well. Okay. All right, so before we get into it, I just want to make sure that we have all of our ingredients here. We should have spinach, we should have our chickpeas, we should have tuna, tomatoes, red onion, as well as a seasoning mixture, and everyone should have olive oil and cucumber and lemon. Everyone have that? Okay, perfect. We all have our knives, our forks, and everything like that. One thing I will ask is that if everyone can look underneath their cutting boards to make sure that there is a wet paper towel underneath. And if there isn't, I would advise to, just because these surfaces can be a little bit, okay, perfect. A little bit slippery, I guess you could say. So what I would advise everyone to do is just grab a paper towel out of one of those kiosks and just get it a little bit wet, and then just put it underneath your cutting board, because they do slip around just a little bit as well. Perfect. This is great to do on any surfaces that you have at home that are kind of slippery and slidey as well as any of our plastic cutting boards as well. It's one safety tip of the day. We'll go through a bunch of them as well. Perfect. Perfect. Look at that. Beautiful. All right. So as you guys are doing that, I'm just going to give a little bit of a lesson overview in a little bit more depth. So throughout any treatment, concentrate on your nutrition, your physical health, right, and support to help manage the side effects and improve your quality of life. So in today's recipe, we're going to be doing a Mediterranean-style tuna salad. And that focuses on convenience and ease while still helping you increase your nutrient needs that are needed for treatment. This recipe features a couple of key ingredients that are found at the grocery store and are often found in our pantries as well. And a bonus to this, everything can be kind of assembled within 20 minutes, and it's heat-free. So it's perfect for the summertime as we're getting closer to those hot months as well. So before we get into all of this, I did wash everything. As you can tell, all of your tuna is out of cans. One tip with the tuna is to always take it out of the can, put it in a colander, and really rinse it, because that will help with some of the sodium, getting rid of some of the sodium. In this can alone, there's 360 milligrams of sodium in it, and just rinsing it off decreases it just by a little bit. It won't decrease it all the way, but it'll help a little bit as well. So I already went ahead and did that, and the same thing with the chickpeas. The reasoning behind this is because these cans can last up to 5 years at a time, so we need to be able to keep them from getting bacteria on them and everything like that. We're also going to be cooking quinoa with this as well, which I'll do that up here just because we didn't have enough griddles. Has anyone ever cooked with quinoa in here? Yeah, everyone? Perfect. So we all know what it tastes like. So I'm actually going to get that started over here on this griddle because that takes the most time as well. But also, if you just want to stick to rice as well, that works too. So before we get started with the quinoa, I always go off of what the back of the bag always says with quinoa. So we're just going to do a cup of dry to 2 cups of water as well. I'm going to put that to the side, and while we're waiting, we can just kind of get cutting here. So with tuna as well, as you notice that sometimes it comes in different forms in cans. So oftentimes, if it doesn't come kind of shredded, it's important to really fork it So if you would like to cut yours a little bit smaller, I would recommend doing that at the end as well. But so we're going to get started with slicing or dicing our cucumber. So the way that I would do this is you can slice it. You can do even slices, but I like my cucumber to be a little bit smaller in salads. So I'll cut it in half horizontally and then cut it again. And remembering our claw method here, so that way we don't nick any of our fingers as well. And I just cut those into 4 strips here, and then I'll put it all together. And then, of course, perfect. So we should look like this in half, and then we split it apart. Okay. All right, beautiful. And then, of course, I'd like to take it and I dice it as well. And making sure to keep our tip of our knife on the cutting board and just using the back here as well. That gives a nice chop. You can go back through and chop it up even more if you'd like as well. Hello. Okay, so you're going to see a lot in this salad that there's going to be a lot of different colors, which is what we would like to introduce as well, because they have a lot of phytonutrients in each of the colors. So green has different vitamins and minerals than maybe tomatoes will. So speaking of tomatoes, once you're done cutting up that cucumber, we can go right into our tomato, which I would recommend just halving them as well. So just halving. If you want to take it a step further and half it a little bit more than welcome to. But I've found that halving it is great. This salad is great for prepping a few days ahead. I would recommend that this salad would only last about 3 days altogether. Okay, now that we have another griddle, with this quinoa, we are going to, so I've put the rice in here. Now my griddle heats up very fast, so I like to adjust the heat just a little bit. Oops. Can't tell. This is okay. Should be. Okay. All right, I'm gonna let that come to a boil just a little bit. And then I'm going to put the quinoa in with it in a minute. So how are we doing? We've cut up our cucumber and then our tomato as well that we have. Okay, beautiful. And then, of course, we have our onion as well. Now with onion, we want to make them really small and very small. So I love using red onion. It's another color as well, and it's also a vegetable, so it's going to add different types of phytonutrients, right? So I love that these onions kind of come already like easy to take apart. So I often just chop it into tiny little pieces here as well. The great thing about red onion is that a little bit of it goes a long way as well. And remembering to use our claw method as well. The quinoa is in, and I'll wait till it comes to a boil, and then I'll let it go for about 20 minutes or so. little bit of love. Okay. So throughout treatment, it's important to concentrate your efforts on 3 main areas to manage side effects and improve quality of life. So that involves our nutrition, our physical activity, and our support system. How many people in here really engage in what kind of what kind of physical activity does everyone engage in here? Yeah. Yeah. Walking. No, that is. Yes, yes. Yes. Yeah, well, no, walking. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just repeating what you're saying. I can't hear that well, so making sure. Yeah. Yoga must be a really great stress reliever, too. Pilates. Ooh. Anyone else? That takes a lot of walking. It really does. Especially at the Malvern North Park. Has quite a big surface area too. To it. It just keeps going and going and going at times. But yes, walking, Pilates, yoga are all great stress relievers. Physical activity is also really great on focusing on just improving our energy levels, right? Oftentimes when we remove ourselves from maybe sitting on the couch, or maybe we're sitting at our table working on something at the computer, and after a while we get up and we walk around for a little while, and we come back to what we were doing, we often realize that our energy levels are a little bit higher, and it can reduce fatigue as well. But also it's important to know your own body. So some people might feel really energized after doing a strenuous physical activity. Maybe it's like powerlifting or something, but maybe other people might feel that way more energized after they went for a walk. So it's really about understanding your body as well with that. All right, we're gonna let this go. Okay, beautiful. Also, if you aren't engaging in any walking or anything like that, you can maybe get in your family involved or any of your friends involved and create like a walking group throughout your neighborhood. I know the weather's been really great for that right now, and hopefully it stays great through the next few months as well. So you can continue to do that as well. So that's just an idea as well. And also it forms to a great support system too if you involve your family into physical activity or even nutrition as well. How about nutrition? What is everyone doing here to promote their nutrition? Yeah. What? I'm sorry. Yeah, I can't really hear that well up here. Yeah. No, yeah. If we just really have to, like, directly. So how do we all promote our nutrition through our daily lives? So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a healthy balance, right? Moderation as well. So yes, reading food labels is really important, especially if you're aware of what's in our food as well. So for instance, with reading a tuna label is really important because when we're buying tuna, we really want to make sure that there's less seasonings and sauces in them because that can really add to the overall salt content. So really ideally in this can of tuna, it should really only say water and tuna in it. So those are really good things to be aware of as well. Same thing with chickpeas, any of our, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of the times, like tuna, like raw tuna. So this is not raw tuna. We'll have it. Yeah, we should always be aware if meats are raw, and especially if we're eating raw fish, we should be eating sushi grade. But it also depends on where the fish is from. I know I've read some research that if it's been swimming around in waters where there's mercury, it just depends as well. Yeah. Yeah, I know like off the top of my head, I know shark is one of them. I think I can't remember the other ones off the top of my head right now that have high mercury. Yeah. But just it's yeah, I'm not too sure. I can't remember off the top of my head with that.
Just add a little bit to that. It's usually the larger fish, so it accumulates. The mercury will accumulate from the smaller fish, and so the large fish will have the most mercury in it. So we're thinking like king mackerel, sharks,
Yeah.
which isn't really a common thing that we're eating in
Okay.
Texas.
Okay.
So we are like tuna is fairly low, even salmon is still going to be a little bit lower, but it's usually like a large type of fish. What's the other one? Like a
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Swordfish, yeah.
So they're not like your shellfishes or anything?
they will have a little bit, but
Yeah.
not where it becomes a concern.
Okay. I was curious about that. Okay.
Yes. If I can double check on that too. I'm not too
Yeah.
familiar with all the shellfish, so I'd have to pull it up and follow them.
Good to know.
Yeah, but it's also a really good point of just really looking into all your food that you're eating. You can look into everything that you're eating as well. Whether it's fresh fruits or frozen vegetables, everyone has a website pretty much as well. But so the one thing I love about quinoa is it cooks really fast. So we're almost done cooking here with the quinoa here as well. But the next time that you're at the grocery store, I would really recommend going throughout the aisles that have canned fruits or vegetables or even canned meats and just really looking at what is there. Maybe not doing this on a really busy afternoon at HEB, but maybe on like a morning time or whenever you go grocery shopping to really just hone in on what's out there. Maybe frozen. You could look at the ingredients list there and just really learning your foods that you're eating as well. But it sounds like from what you've said, you're already pretty aware of everything.
I don't like a lot of packaged foods because of all the preservatives. I'd rather, even when at HEB, I like to go to the butcher block.
Mm.
They have them at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it still has the options. But yeah. And if I do like tuna, it's in the block. It's the out origin of the block.
Yeah. Yeah. This tuna is great because it's just quick and convenient as well, especially if we're in a pinch as well. So with tuna, even if, let's say you get home later and you're like, you know what, this would be really great with salmon. For dinner, you like the salad component, but you're like, this would be even better with salmon. Both tuna and salmon are really great in protein and healthy fats. Let's see. So with tuna and our healthy fats, here we go. So protein is really crucial for growth and repair of our body tissues, right? As well as our strength of our immune system. So those are who are battling current illnesses or at risk of any illness, it's important to be able to eat protein to eventually fight off some infections as well. And then fat plays a role in the absorption of many vitamins in the body. So we want fat, especially when we're eating different types of vitamins and minerals. So any of our vitamins and minerals that comes from our fruits or our vegetables, we want to add a little bit of fat into that because it helps absorb. And it adds to our calories as well. So it'll kind of give a little bit more volume to our foods as well with that. Does anyone have any questions about that part? Okay. Okay, so then there's with quinoa as well. So the quinoa is going to add to our grain component, and it also has protein and fiber in it. So it's just going to add a little bit more than we would typically have with just the chickpeas and the tuna as well. And it kind of creates just a little bit more fullness to the salad. Whereas if you don't have to have this component, but you'll just realize it kind of brings it all together a little bit more as well. And also, quinoa is a great pantry staple because it's shelf stable, easy to cook. Like I always like to say, like this, I've had this for about 4 weeks already, and this is as far as I've gotten in the bag. It just lasts forever, I feel like. And it's great to have around. You can put it in everything. I know I've made a berry quinoa salad with it before, so like a fruit salad, and it just kind of creates a little bit more volume to it as well, while adding protein and fiber into it as well. What other fiber sources are we adding into this plate, just from the ingredients that you have on here? What other fiber sources are on your trays? I heard someone say chickpeas. Yes, perfect. We have chickpeas. And there will be a little bit of fiber in what else, you think? Spinach will have a little bit of fiber as well. Perfect. All right. So. Yeah, we'll have a little bit of fiber in them as well. Yes. All right. So when we're creating salads as well, so this is a perfect example. We could always do without the quinoa, but we want to add volume. We want to add nutrient-dense foods into our meals so that we were adding more volume, right? So thinking of ways to increase your calories as well as your protein, your fiber, are great ways to think about when you're planning out your daily meals. Does everyone in here plan out your daily meals at the beginning of the week? Or do you just kind of go throughout the, yeah? Yeah? Did she? That's great. No? So do you guys just typically like, okay, what's for dinner is what's for dinner tonight? Or how do you, yeah? Yeah, that's great. Oh, yum. Yeah, don't blame me. What? Yeah, no, I agree with that. So, like I said, this quinoa, perfect staple. You can throw this into literally anything. I think I've thrown it into taco meat before, and it's tasted great. So, as well as spinach or any vegetable, like leafy vegetable of your choice is great to have on hand. And of course, chickpeas and any type of meat as well. So just in case those nights where like I don't feel like cooking or anything like that, or you don't know what to cook, this is a perfect. And like I've done a lot of talking through this, so you really haven't realized that we're pretty much already done with everything, but this is it pretty much. So we're gonna go back in and we're going to cut up our spinach leaves just to make them a little bit smaller. Kind of give like an elevation of like a chopped salad as well. So what I like to do with spinach is I like to like kind of just couple it all into my fists and then do my claw method as well, and then really kind of do big chunks of it as well. And that kind of just cuts it down just a little bit. Not too finely, but pretty good. Perfect. And then what I would recommend is to start plating it onto your plate as well. So has anyone heard of My Plate in here? My Plate? Yeah, and how about the New American Plate? The New American? No? Okay. So the New American Plate is a visual guide that's created by the American Institute for Cancer Research that focuses on building a healthy plate with 2 types of food sources, so plant-based and animal-based as well. So from our plates here, which ones are the animal-based products? What? Yep, perfect. And then everything else is our plant-based, right? Perfect. So we're intertwining all of that together. And this guide just kind of has been recommended to reflect cancer prevention and maintenance as well. So what the plate will kind of look like is, I wish we had like a whiteboard, but what it kind of looks like, it's our plate. So let's say I have a bigger plate here, and then it's going to fill up more than half, so kind of like a 4 o'clock on a clock of fruits and vegetables and grains, and then this quadrant over here is going to be our animal-based proteins. So you can kind of see that with all of your ingredients laid out as well, that we're kind of mimicking that as well here. Whereas with my plate, we have kind of 4 quadrants cut off, where it's our fruits, our vegetables on one side, and then grains and protein. Whereas the New American plate, they're kind of encompassing more plant-based with a segmented of animal-based proteins as well. So, do we have our spinach on our plate? Beautiful. Okay. And then we can start to plate our cucumber as well. And then our tomato as well on top. Kind of getting everything. Don't do anything with the onion just yet. Oh, no. If you did, it's okay. But I have a little trick up my sleeve with that one. So next, once you've plated everything, I would recommend just getting your oil out. Don't do anything with it just yet, because we still need to cut up the parsley to go on top. This is our lovely parsley as well. You can pick everything off if you want. I like to just kind of get everything even, and then I go through and I just kind of cut it off at the stem as well. And then I will wrap it again, kind of like this, like curl it, and then cut it again. But I'm going to kind of picking like a bouquet. So I'm kind of bringing everything together like this. So you should have all the stems down. And then I cut it right here at the stem. And then I cup it all together in like almost like a fist, I guess, a small fist. And then I go through and cut it up really finely. Again, kind of like how I did it with the spinach as well. And making sure to keep our tip on our cutting board as well, and our claw method. So using herbs and spices are great ways to add some quick flavor in to all of your foods as well. Yeah. Okay. So I would throw in probably like more than half into the olive oil. Maybe like like that much into your olive oil, and then the rest we'll throw into the tuna as well. So I'd throw that into your olive oil as well as your onion if you haven't already. And just kind of give that a little bit of a mix as well. You can give that a mix with your fork or just kind of swirl it around like I am right now. All right. Perfect. And then I'm going to let it sit there a little bit, and it'll kind of just encompass some of the flavor all together before we put it on our salad. But now we're going to work with our chickpeas as well. So I would just, if you want to season them a little bit with your seasoning mixture, you're more than welcome to. It will get a little bit of the seasoning once we put it all together. But, I don't know where that is. But so the seasoning mixture today is going to be garlic, salt, and pepper as well. So I'm just going to do that a little bit. Another great way to, if you want to make this for dinner, is to put this on a baking sheet and roast it at 425 until you notice that they're nice and crispy. It'll add a nice crunch to the salad as well. So yummy. And then I just kind of will put it on my plate as well. Okay. Now I'm going to open this can of tuna. And then I'm going to drain it really quickly. But I wanted to demonstrate this in front of you just in case we hadn't seen inside of a tuna can before. But there's a lot of water in it. And another tip with tuna is to make sure that you're getting it in water. You will see sometimes that it's in oil. Recommendation is to best in water as well, because it'll help with some of the sodium as well. So I'm going to turn around here and just dump this out in the sink really quickly. Okay. And then with the rest of our seasoning, I would put it on our tuna. Oh, sorry, that was my timer for the quinoa. And I would really massage that in there as well. Or use your fork and really kind of just fluff it in with it. I'm just going to use my hands. There is gloves up here if you would like any. And then, of course, I'm going to take my lemon and then squeeze this in here as well into the tuna. You don't have to use all of the lemon in the tuna. You can use it in some of your dressing. I just find that in the tuna, once you kind of toss it all together, that it really just kind of gives off a great flavor to everything as well. Okay, and then I'm also going to take this olive oil mixture and I'm going to put it in with the salad. So here's where things get a little messy and I would recommend using a bowl. But I'm going to put this mixture on top here as well as the tuna. As well as the tuna here. And then I'm going to kind of just toss it all together. To become kind of like a tossed salad. And then we'll add in this quinoa to it as well. I just don't want to overflow our plates just yet. So. Mix it all together. While everyone's doing that, I will grab everyone some quinoa as well. Sure. Yes. What? The beans, you can add those in. Perfect. Yeah, and if you would like, you can add some of your seasoning to it too. Can you grab a 1/4 cup? And then so that should be all kind of combined together. You should see that the lemon juices are really kind of absorbing. If you have any more lemon juice left over, I would recommend putting it over the top as well. I'm so sorry not to give you guys bowls today. I thought the plates would be a little bit bigger. Thank you. Okay. So everyone's going to get about 1/4 cup quinoa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, two, three. And then with the quinoa, I would toss that right in. You don't have to use all of the 1/4 that I give you as well. How many more? 4, perfect. Yay. So I like to just kind of put it on top. And then I still have a little bit more seasoning left, so I'll just put that over the top as well. And then just kind of blend it all together. As well. Whoop. Okay. Well, I put a whole can of tuna on mine by accident, so I would not recommend doing that. I gave everyone a half a can as well. So this recipe here that you have is made for 4 servings, and today what we did was only 2 servings. So as you can tell, it's still a huge salad, and it's great. But you'll also notice that the quinoa kind of disappears. So it's also great if we have any picky eaters at home. It kind of disguises itself as well. You can always add more quinoa as well. It does. Promise. No. Yeah. And then the finishing touch is my favorite part. It's always adding the cheese. I love feta, especially. Feta is so yummy. So if you want to go ahead and just add that to the top here. Sometimes you're going to have to, like I have a really chunky piece here. You might want to crumble it up a little bit. The great thing about feta is it crumbles very easily as well. And then make sure it has a really good mix to it. And then once we're all done, you're more than welcome to taste it as well. It's a big salad. So of course we can find tuna in a can or a packet. Whether it's in a can or in a packet, I always recommend washing it as well. And it's important to pair proteins with vegetables and fruits and any plant-based products as well. So what do we think so far? Good? Yeah. Can we taste the quinoa in it? Where is it? There's no. No. And as always, I always like to tell all of my classes that a recipe is a template, right? So if we don't have the exact same ingredients and you want to recreate this at home, any kind of fruits or vegetables are great to add into it. If you feel it needs a different type of seasoning, more than welcome to add into it as well. But does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, great. All right, so this ends our class right here.